Okay, I'm back with the graphs after derping around for a bit. So yeah, I'm probably just an idiot, and it is easier than I thought. Now the only qualms I'm having at the moment is I'm worried these options are going to look different in version 24, so I'll double check that when we're in class. I'm just going to reset that. Let's go to our gallery. So I started off, if you remember, with the stacked bar chart, and I'm going to put passenger class in here and survival in here. And then I was looking around thinking, how do we add extra stuff in? And I clicked the rows and thought, I don't want to do that. I don't think that's easy to look at the output. However, I could have just looked below it for the columns, and that might have been easier. So I'll put the gender into there. Now it's set on counts at the moment, so let's just have a quick look at how that is with counts. So it's kind of not too bad. We can see, like, I would relabel this. I don't need this class. I'd probably put female down here and male here, and then relabel these to be first, second, and third class. But you can sort of see the trend of what's happening, but really it would be much easier if we had this as percentages. So under this option here, you do want to check what percentages you're calculating, and you've actually got a couple more, well, you've got one more option now that we've got the panel in there. You could choose it by that, but I think we just want to stick with out of each x-axis category. And then we get this nice progression that you can see. Survival was super high for women in first class, about 50-50 for women in third class. But for men in first class, you started out, what's that? Less than 40% chance of survival for men in first class, and then pretty bad odds if you're in second and third class as a man. Now, it's not always easy to work out the best way to show this data. I think I like this one because we can see the pattern of it, but if we're not sure what to do, then just play around and see if can you interpret the results? Can you communicate them? Can you write what's going on in a sentence easily? So if you weren't sure, you could have try putting class there and gender here and see, is that easier to interpret? And I guess if your focus was on gender, this really illustrates the big difference, but I find this jumping back and forth actually a little bit distracting. And the other thing that's a little bit distracting is actually those colours are really both quite bright. So depending on what I was focused on, I might recolour one of them to be grey just to tone it down a little bit. So maybe if I was focusing on the not surviving, I might just tone down the blue a tiny bit by making it grey. And even that's very bright. Can I be very boring and make that black? Depending on whether you're putting it on a poster or putting it in for a publication and what the guidelines are, or for your student project, blah, 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 that would help determine what colours you are using. For a poster, it's okay to have colour. Maybe we change that back. Is that a slightly darker red? Yeah, slightly less offensive red. I'll probably take this title out. You could leave the class up the top there, actually. And I might take out those, might have to go through individually and just blank them out. I don't think we need the gender under each of these, just because it's clear to me that that's gender, but maybe I would relabel this so we had some capitals. That's if this was the graph I was going with. I think I'd go with the other one. And the other thing was, depending on how big it was going to be in the final report, we might want to shrink it down first before we put it in our poster. Because if we cut and paste this into Word or PowerPoint and then shrink it down, it won't adjust the font sizes because it's not actually linked. It's just cutting and pasting it as a picture. So what I would probably do is reduce the size first in SPSS so that it does adjust all the font sizes and it's all still readable. And you can see here that class is taking up a lot of room, so this might be worth playing around with, and maybe having this legend. Do we have there is an option for where the elements go, I think. transpose chart. Ooh, no, I don't like that any better. You could play around with that and hide the legend, put the legend down the bottom, that type of thing. Oh, look, there's a scale up to 100% there. That's interesting. So I would probably scale it down first, and then I would cut and paste it into whatever I was using, just so that all these fonts were legible. Yeah, but I prefer that one. Okay, if you have any questions, bring along to class, let me know. Thanks.